What's going on, guys? We are coming at you with a brand new video series, and it is going to be on starting, or for most people, probably restarting a keto diet. 5 parts. Did I mention that?
Not yet.
It's going to be a 5-part series. Some tips and tricks on how to get going, everything you need to know, and just some things that'll make it easier.
Matt even has some advanced tactics planned.
Yeah, that'll be the last video. So in this video, we're going to talk about why keto will work for you when other diets in the past, which you've probably tried, have failed. Some resources to use and just like get you headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
This is more of like a mental exercise that is necessary before setting out on the journey, just so that you're aligned properly and you won't get caught up with the voice in your head telling you like you should cheat, you should do this. You know, you'll just be aligned to begin.
Very aligned. Yeah, you kind of want your blinders on for something like this because it's easy to like get ahead of yourself, compare to people who've lost a ton of weight, who are doing so great. But this is about you, so just stay focused and we are going to help you do that.
So the first thing is, why would keto work for you when you've tried so many diets in the past that have not worked?
That's a great question.
And the answer is the main thing it's going to do for you is going to take you off the blood sugar roller coaster, which makes it hard to be in control of your food consumption, which there's like a little bit of illusion going on. Like you have this illusion of willpower where you can power through and like stick to your really low calorie diet for a couple weeks, maybe a couple months. But in the long run, you can't do that. You can't do that for a long period of time. Keto is going to make you become fat adapted, get off of the sugar addiction, or just like the reliance on sugar, eating frequently, always being hungry, that type of a thing. Just puts the ball back in your court. It's easier to control. And down the road, long term, you'll just naturally eat the right amount of food. You won't be fighting against your body.
Yeah. So less impulse urges means more control over the food that's going into your mouth.
So that's going to be the main thing. You got to think of that. You got to think of this in a long-term mindset, because a lot of people, maybe even you, when you hear about the keto diet, you're like, oh, that's something I can do to lose weight quick, lose weight fast. Everyone wants to do things quick and fast. What you really want to do is make lifelong changes. That sounds intimidating at first. You got to think of this on a really long scale timeline, because if you do the 2-week or the 2-month diet, you're just going to have a rebound effect. You've probably been through this before, where then you're overeating for the following couple months.
Kind of goes into the next thing. So having a plan is really important. It'll help you stick to it long term. So what I like to do and what I've personally done with a lot of different types of goals is set out the next 2 weeks, set out the next month. And once you hit that small goal, it just pushes you to keep going. Because if you're just like, 6 months, I got to stick to this diet, that is very intimidating. That is daunting. But if you take it in small periods of time, it's way more achievable and you can stick to it consistently.
Yeah, so an important thing when you're starting out, don't be intimidated. Some people think keto is like an all or nothing type of a thing. You're either doing it or you're not. You're not getting any of the benefits.
It's not black or white.
If you cheat 1 day per month, you're not getting any benefits. What you really should do is come up with something you can stick to. You know yourself. So if you can do it for 2 weeks and then you have like some sort of cheat.
Or you just reassess and you write down your goals again, and maybe you don't cheat. Maybe you're just like, I feel so good after these 2 weeks, I'm gonna go another 2 weeks. So now that you know what the diet will do for you, and you know that having a plan is so important, what is the next step? What about all the foods you can't have?
Yeah, so it's easy to focus on what you can't have with any kind of diet. That's sort of the double-edged sword with diets. When you tell, or with anything, when you tell someone they can't have something, then they want that thing.
Yeah.
That's how I bagged Mega. No, I'm kidding. She always thinks I'm lying, but I was negging her at the start. It's a dating tactic.
Look it up. He wasn't doing that. You can tell.
You got to focus on what you can have. So a lot of people would view most things you have on keto as like indulgent foods that they wish they could eat more of.
Yeah.
But then once you start doing keto, you don't think of it like that anymore. You think of like the chips and the desserts and stuff as the foods you want. Just try having an abundance mindset. Just keep on telling yourself, look at all this great stuff I can eat. Don't focus on what you can't eat.
There's almost too much food reward in the grocery store right now, right? Like all these boxes of cereal, all these different types of cookies. Like they make Cinnamon Toast Crunch heavy cream, like I've seen in Target. And like it's just chock full of sugar, terrible ingredients. And when you drink that, like all the receptors are firing, right? You feel good. This is delicious. But how is that affecting you in the long term? Probably not great, because now you expect this delicious Cinnamon Toast Crunch heavy cream at every single meal. So that's what food reward has become.
For every meal?
Yeah, you can if you want. I mean, that's what we've taken it to, right? Like, you have these high expectations of these textures and these tastes and these combinations, but like, that's not what our day-to-day diet should look like. Once in a while, sure, you know?
You got to recalibrate. It's hard. Because the things that we do these days, it's not really normal, but it's normalized.
Yeah.
So, like going to the grocery store, buying Cinnamon Toast Crunch heavy cream and putting it on your Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal, like...
Sounds great.
That's a normal thing. People would be like, oh, okay, that's breakfast, right?
Yeah.
But it's not really normal. You got to kind of reframe things. I like to think of things from an ancestral perspective and just like how crazy it would be to be eating that meal, like Cinnamon Toast Crunch everything.
Yeah. And I think cutting out all those decisions, like I can't have Cinnamon Toast Crunch anymore or the Cinnamon Toast Crunch creamer, will make it easier to just enjoy the foods that you do have access to and you should be eating day to day.
Yeah, and the last thing is just some resources to get you set in the right direction. You can Google and stuff and find your own resources. These are just the ones that help us.
Yeah.
So obviously, ketoconnect.net.
Whoop whoop.
That's our site. There is a bunch of recipes on there, but there's also a really good beginner guide. There's a bunch of stuff you can print, like shopping lists, meal plans, different things like that. There's a macro calculator on there, which we're going to get to in a future video, how to use that.
Yep.
There's takeout options like keto, fast food stuff. There's grocery store guides for a bunch of different grocery stores, so check that out. Then you also got Reddit, which...
is where we found keto.
Yeah. I've soured on the keto Reddit slightly over time, I would say. But as a beginner, yeah, I was going there all the time. It was really good, for sure. And then there's YouTube, which you're probably a fan of since you're watching this video on here. There's a bunch of other good channels. People have their favorites.
Yes.
I like Dr. Berg is good. Mike Mutzel, High Intensity Health. He has like long form interviews that are really good. Those get me motivated.
Yeah. And then ours, if you haven't looked at our library, we have a ton of day of eatings. We have shopping videos, like grocery hauls. And then we also bring the fun, right? Like, our vlogs are entertaining. We have a little baby. We talk about his nutrition.
Yeah, we try.
Yeah.
And there's podcasts. I don't listen to too many podcasts right now, but we have one of those too you can check out. But there's other good keto podcasts out there too. So the big takeaway is that keto will be different for you than the other diets you've tried previously. And you have to kind of be convinced of that. And when you're like really motivated and you're like, this is going to work, this is going to be the change I need. Even if that's not the case, but it is, that will motivate you and just like keep you going when times are tough. Like when you're... you know, you just got back after a long day, and what you've always done after long days of work is you just sit on the couch and you have like your chips.
And a beer.
And it's easy to just fall back into that when like times are tough, you're super stressed. But if you have this motivation, you're like, keto's the thing I need. It's really going to work for me.
Yeah.
Buy in, it'll pay off down the road.
Yeah, if you're not convinced, just give it a try. You can't knock it till you try it, right? So that is our first installment, plus some great resources you should check out, and we'll see you next video.